So the first set deals with vocabulary. Even says so. Think in the should say somewhere. Yeah, at the bottom right corner, it says vocabulary. I think we've done some of these in the past. I don't remember. So what I'm going to do is I'll do number one, show you the process, have you try two, we'll move on to another one. Okay. So for number one, okay, first off, what I like to do is take a look at the words, do a quick survey of them. Any words I know, I'll put a check mark. I don't know, I can put an X next to it. So, I mean, I do know all four words, but let's say you didn't know solicitous. Okay. Let's say you didn't know that. Ceremonial means you're celebrating ceremony, so we know that. Prominent means you're well known for something. If you're very prominent, you're well known. Um, let's say you didn't know provocative. Fine, we'll put X. So let's say you know two of the four words. Okay, that could happen, right? So now what we need to do is read the passage, try to figure out what word to put in the blank based upon evidence within the passage, and match with one of the four choices. Now, the two words I do know, ceremonial means being very well celebrated for something. Prominent means being very well known. Um, if they don't fit, then of course I'm going to go with something else. And the words I don't know, we could dig a little deeper and maybe try relating it to more familiar words or try to think of situations of life where I've heard these words. So let's start. One of the most blank 12th century cartographers, Muhammad al-Idrisi, is perhaps best known for the Tabula Rogeriana, one of the most advanced medieval maps, while working under the Norman king Roger II of Sicily. Had occurred to al-Idrisi that by combining Norwegian maps of Western Europe with the Arabic maps of the Middle East and Asia, he might be able to create a three-dimensional model of the known world. His construction, a type of art known as planisphere, was one of the first to depict the Eurasian continent and the northern regions of Africa in their entirety. Okay, so probably one of the most celebrated, I'd say, or probably one of the most well-known or something like that. I'm not sure if I'd say ceremonial necessarily. Ceremonial, I mean, I know it means celebrated, but I think prominent might be a better fit. Also, you could put a word like well-known, one of the most well-known 12th century cartographers. That could work too. So fortunately, one of the words I did know fits. If you don't know solicitous or provocative, don't worry about it because you know that one of the words is a perfect fit. Now, let's actually do explore these other two words. Now, does someone in the room do know what solicitous might mean? Or solicitous? What do you mean by time of the year? Oh, that's a little different. That's a little different. That's solstice, spelled different. But I know what you mean. Okay, so I understand that, but that's different. You have another idea? Well, how about like when you if you go to someone's house or like they have a sign, what does that mean?
Like you can't go.
Yeah, you don't want like some strange person coming to your house and trying to sell you something, right? Solicit means to like offer business, which doesn't make sense. Like unwanted business. I don't want that, right? Well, I don't want that in general, but I don't want that as my answer either. Provocative to provoke or to like kind of like anything provocative is very interesting or intriguing. Like that's a very provocative idea. Um, that's not gonna really fit either. So I'll go prominent. Okay.
Wait, why is it not ceremony?
Ceremonial is more like
It's because you're celebrating.
it is celebrate, but it could also
Because what
I think ceremony is actually more formal, to be honest. I would say probably more formal than anything else. But prominent is a stronger choice because if you're prominent, you're well known. So
is it called ceremony?
I mean, I mean, yeah, like for example, there could be like a ceremony to like before we broke ground this building, like there was this, like the ceremony, like whatever. But I think to say he's well known or famous promised me better. Um, Connects up. So again, before I get too carried away, let's look at the words. So just keep your own tally. Any words you do know, put a check mark. You don't know, put an X. Um, I think some of these are pretty straightforward. Perhaps procure might be a tough word. And then you want to think of your own word put in the blank. So geneticists were initially unable to blank an effective treatment. Blah blah blah. I kind of read more. So do your little tally. of like what words you think you know and don't know. Read the passage. Before we select the choice, tell me what word, if you chose your own word to put in the blank, what that word would be.
Oh,
Okay. Unable to make.
D? Or actually, because isn't fabricate to make?
Well, hold on. No, we're not. Well, just wait. So Luis like make. Do you guys have other choices that other unable to find might be a little stronger? Made to develop or made to secure? Maybe. Mhm. So the thing with the issue I have with make, it's a little too general. I want to be a little more specific if we can. I like find in order to find, in fact, or to develop or discover. Scientists discover things all the time, right? So these are all, I think, pretty strong words that could go in that blank, right? So in the very specific words. Now, illuminate means to light up or highlight. Comprehend means understand. Hmm. Fabricate does, but fabricate means more made up, like if you fabricate a lie or fabricate a story. Probably not either.
Wait, what is?
So procure is it's a hard word. Yeah, it has more negative connotation. Correct. Right. I would agree with that. Um, I mean, you could also like fabricate like some sort of like device or make something. Now, keep in mind, if you're doing well on the first module for reading and writing, if you generally do pretty well, expect the second module to be challenging. Expect some tough words in the second module. And it's okay if you don't know what procure means. But it sounds like secure. You know, it does mean secure. It actually does mean that. Yeah, it does.
Why?
I don't know, but it just does. So procure is the right choice. It actually does mean that. It does mean that.
That's beyond.
Fabricate? Two? Should be no, I'm pretty sure it's procure. No, it's
The wrong answer.
a note to fabricate? No, I'm pretty sure. No, because there's another solution key for this that actually explains it. No, it's procure. No, it's not fabricate. It should be procure. Let's keep going.
So fabricate means lie.
Yes, to make up a lie. Yeah, yeah, that's weird. It should not be D. It should be A. Okay. Let's move on to the next category. Reading comprehension. So we'll get to page 57. Okay. In the 4th century BCE, Aristotle wrote, so with animals, some spring from parent animals according to their kind, whilst others grow spontaneously and not from kindred stock. And of these instances of spontaneous generation, some come from putrefying earth or vegetable matter, as is the case of the number of insects, while others are spontaneously generated in the inside of animals out of the secretions of their several organs. For many centuries thereafter, the theory of spontaneous generation was widely accepted by scientists, including the idea that fleas arose from the dust. I mean, it all sounds ridiculous, right? That people believe that. It would not be until the mid-19th century that chemists Louis Pasteur and John Tyndall debunked means it disproved, by the way. So that's how they kind of sneak in some hard vocab there. They disproved that theory through a series of experiments and paved the way for the modern theory of biogenesis. Okay, so what choice best states the main purpose? So I think the main purpose is to state a belief that people had in the past, and now there are some people later on in history that disproved it. So if you look at the choices, you want to pick a choice that kind of exemplifies what I just said there. So again, that's the purpose of the text to present something that people had believed and now they don't believe anymore. So as you go through the choices, which one would fit that description? Yeah, I'm shocked it was fabricated. They said that because that means to deceive. No, it was not. No, it was it was no because there's a separate like a full the full explanations, and it says procure. So yeah, I'm just shocked that it said D for that one. So what do you guys think for this one? Yeah, I agree. It introduces a theory and then describes changing status, right? Because people change their mind afterwards. Now, if you look at the other choices, just to be sure, and this is why we call this critical reading in some ways, because you want to read this critically. Is it controversial? I wouldn't say it's controversial. There's no controversy. A long-standing problem that research described in the text promises to solve. I wouldn't say it was a problem to identify one remaining point of uncertainty in a debate outlined. I wasn't in a debate either. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so that's why A would make sense. Okay, so yeah, again, you want to read the passage. Of course, see what the question is asking first. The question is asking for the function of the fourth sentence. How does the fourth sentence function in the text as a whole? So the only issue I have with this that this is like old English, like over 100 years old. It could be a little dense. You may have to read it 2 or 3 times. I do that sometimes, but try to paraphrase if you could. Try to relate to maybe more familiar times. Like, just kind of pause a little bit and then we'll touch base about it. Okay, so as I look at it, um, they actually want this, right? Hold on a sec. Yeah, I'll confirm your answer in a moment. Yeah, we both want to do all we can to help along the poetry drama, and they believe the public's ready for it, and they'll spend money. They're going to invest in it, but we don't believe they can be made to want this. Maybe they don't want it. Um, so don't overthink it. So what did you have, Amy? Yeah, I agree. G, yeah, C, yep. Yeah, it clarifies the reason for rejection because the rejection is like we don't believe it could be made. So rejection ties to this and avoid spending. Spending they talk about over here. So I goes D and dog. Yep. Okay, let's keep moving. More reading. Um, yeah, no.
The next. One.
Let's go to page A1. Now, these science ones can be pretty dense too. Yeah, they can be pretty dense. So I'll read this one, then have you guys then do Old English again for number 2. And these are main idea questions, or this one's what is true about Beckering. Fine. Paraneid immunity, the ability of immune cells to quickly respond to threats, helps protect the human body from infection. Okay. However, Niels Rickson of Radboud University Medical Center suspected that trained immunity may indirectly cause atherosclerosis or stiffening of the arteries. Okay. To investigate this hypothesis, okay, so he's investigating something. Rickson collaborated with this guy, an immunologist at Radboud, designed a study using monocytes. Okay. So this guy is an immunologist, and they were doing some study about immunity, sure. He brought monocytes into contact with 2 types of cholesterol found arteries, low density and high, and then something else, okay, oxidized form. Beckering study demonstrated a connection, okay, between trained immunity and this disease, and this whatever LDL thing alter the monocytes, which in turn produce more. Okay, so this is where it gets really kind of sciencey, like, oh my gosh, too much going on here. Then normal as response to perceived threat. Okay. The cytokines then settle on the artery walls, causing them to stiffen over time. Okay. So he's able to understand why arteries get hard. Fine. Or the stiffening of these arteries. We got it. Okay. So now we want to see what is true about. We know he's a scientist and we know he made a discovery, a connection, right? And something that deals with the heart. Okay, so we read each choice very carefully. I want to say she was more qualified. So I wouldn't say C. I would not say C.
D.
It's not D.
Oh. Wait, A. C.
It's A. It's A. It's A. Hmm. True. So let's be yes. It's good that you see A works, but why does D not work? Let's get to that in a moment. But A is true. It provided evidence for sure. It did boost the hypothesis that the other colleague said, because the other colleague had said that she suspected that train immunity may cause this, and this person proved it, right? So again, suspect that trained immunity may indirectly cause this, and this person demonstrated a connection between trained immunity and that. So there you go. That's your evidence, right? And positive just means like what your hypothesis or what you're speculating. Now, why does D not work? She experimented with both LDL and oxyLDL in order to establish a standard of comparison. I wouldn't say a standard of comparison. She's not trying to compare those two things. I mean, she worked with those two things. Well, those two types of cholesterol, but I wouldn't say she was really comparing those two. So I think we have to dig a little deeper, right? Yeah, she did work with those two things, but that was not the whole point. The whole point was to prove the theory up above.
So A.
That's what I'd say, yeah. Okay, go and try two now. So again, do you want the main idea? It's about Mark Twain. Actually, Mark Twain wrote about describing someone else.
Oh, so Mark Twain, like the talk, like talking
About someone else.
about William Dean Hall?
Correct. Right. Right.
For the first one. No, not the second one.
Yeah, I gave him the answer for the first or second, Valentina. First one's A. He talks about his English is in okay shape. So I cannot find his English has suffered any impairment. So his English is not impaired. So it's okay. And it's been a continual delight, astonishment. And he's clear, verbally exact, unforced. Felicity means happy, felicity of phrasing. He's, in my belief, sustained. Sustained means supported, I suppose. So yeah, so he is praising this guy, right? 100% is praising him.
See?
Well, okay, the only reason why I see it doesn't work, only reason I see it doesn't work, you're almost there. We don't know anything about speech, only his writing. Only talk about his writing, right? Because I read his book, and I compared his paper. So no, he didn't hear him speak. We gotta be careful there. But you're on the right track. So A is a better choice. A is a better choice. That's why it's hard. That's why we're doing the hard ones.
This is a standard.
No, no, it's A. It's A, right? Yeah, it's A. Okay, no. Not five. Five is C. All right. Let's keep moving. They have this as extra practice, right? If you because go to page 129 charts. So the way I handle charts, I like to look at the data first, understand the data. Like, okay, we got 5 years of data, wine and ale, which is beer. Comparing the two things. So wine imported from Europe and ale. And obviously ale's way more popular than wine. Okay. Ale like beer. Yeah.
Sorry.
So now, what choice most effectively uses data to support the historian's conclusions? I don't know what the historian's conclusions are. So let's read this. We have some data that we have to use. Historians studying the 16th century Tudor period notes that because the water was not safe to drink, alternate beverages were routinely consumed. Instead, most notably ale and wine. The poor drank bitter ale, like beer, while the rich drank higher quality, better tasting variety, as well as wine that was typically imported to England from other European countries. The climate's more suitable for growing grapes, like France, perhaps, or whatever, or Italy. The historian concludes that wine was the preferred drink of the upper class residents and guests at English palaces such as Hampton Court, but further hypothesizes that practical considerations influence their choice of beverage, noting that, okay, so they say they would like to drink wine, right? They preferred wine because it just tasted better, but there's a contrast.
Isn't it ABC?
Let me double check. Hold on. Practical because ale's cheaper, right? And we do see that drinking more of that than wine influence their choice of beverage, knowing that. So, Giselle, what are you saying?
See,
Let's see here. Iron Man's with ale and wine.
it's probably gonna be like beer or something.
It's neither.
No?
I don't think so. Well, for now, what do you say? For now, what are you saying for now? Right, but I think you said the right answer. You say it. You got it.
That's okay.
No, you got it. Are you saying it's B? I'm pretty sure it's B. Yeah, it's B. Okay. So here's why it's B. So for each year listed, right, the difference in number of gallons of ale versus wine served suggests that imported wine might have been probably more expensive. That's why you're drinking more of the other one, right? Because the other one's cheaper. For even the rich to drink in large quantities. Because they talk about practical considerations. Why? So why are they trying to be practical? They probably don't want to spend too much money on drinking something that's super expensive. So they probably still want to party. So let's just drink this instead, right? So that influenced their choices. But it does use the data really well. Now, if you look at A, the higher amounts in 1532, actually, yes, it is higher in 1532 and 1531. It's just the availability of both ale and port wine changed over time.
No.
Yeah, but that's not. But you're trying to say that even though they preferred wine, they sometimes drank this. You want to compare the two different types, not years. You want to compare the two different types of beverages. A doesn't do that. Proceed, the largest amount of ale and wine combined was served during 1915-29, which says that there was an atypically means unusual high number of residents. Yeah, but that's not. Again, we're trying to compare these two types of drinks, and B does that. And then lastly for D, yeah, they didn't prefer the taste, no, because they knew it didn't taste good, but they're like, you just can't spend this kind of money. Okay, now look at two. So now this because you want to weaken the conclusion. You want to weaken. And percent of hours with n number of coughs. Okay, look at how many times people cough. Okay, so it's a study. And which choice best describes data from the graph that weakens the conclusion? So this person can make a conclusion that's kind of false. We have to use that to prove that person wrong. Come on. Let me finish reading this. So what does the student conclude? That the individual's coughing patterns showed no similarities between the results of the two studies. Well, there are similarities, right? There are. So we want to disprove this. So this student is saying there's no similarities, but I think there is a similarity because yeah, I think there's because here's how the 2 hours. So look at the 12-hour study, right? If you count 1 to 5 coughs per hour or 6 to 10 coughs per hour, that's a pretty large percentage of the hours that we see that. But then it goes down for these two, or for those three. If you look at 8 or 9 5-hour study, the first two categories, these are categories of number of coughs per hour. Sorry.
So
The,
it decreases?
so there's a similarity. Yes, there is a similarity.
But I don't get the similarity.
So the person saying the patterns, these two studies. So let's look at the 12-hour study, right? It's 25%, 32.5%, and then it drops. Let's look at the 8 or 9 5. It's pretty high here, and then it drops. So they both kind of experience the same kind of like drop and rise a little bit. So there is a similarity. So we want to pick a choice that proves that there is a similarity.
So
With n causes n increased.
Let's see.
Definitely not C, right? The greatest percent of hours. Yeah, but you want to compare the two studies though. You don't want B because you want to compare the two studies. You want to compare the 12-hour study to 8 or 9 5-hour study. You want to show the two studies have a similarity. B doesn't mention the 12-hour study. So it's either A or D, because A or D talks about both studies. Had a large percent of hours with more than 20 coughs than did. No, but you want to say they're similar though. So it's gotta be A. You want to prove they're similar. Yeah, I know, there's a little tricky. These are not easy questions. These are this is why our category.
For quantum, how many of these would appear in the second?
I mean, maybe you see two. You see two of most of these, yeah. And there's usually around like number 11 or 12 is where you see that. Yeah, Valentina? Correct. Right. Okay.
No.
Okay. Okay, let's do logical completion, guys. Okay, logical completion. Let's go to page 155. So you want to pick a choice that logically completes the text. So, in a study of DNA sequencing, or the order in which nucleic acids appear in DNA, reproductive biologist Dr. Ann Kissling examined activity in cells. She discovered that reverse transcription, a process that typically only takes place in retroviruses, actually occurs in normal human cells. She also found that human embryos use reverse transcription to generate DNA from an RNA template. Therefore, it can be clear that Dr. Kissling helped to. So let's see. She examined activity in cells. She discovered that whatever this process is, only takes place in retroviruses. That typically actually occurs in normal human cells. Okay. She also found that human embryos use this. Okay. So she probably helped to advance our knowledge of DNA or something like that. Now, she's not discounting. It's D. Good. Because she's actually trying to boost some she's trying to expand our knowledge about DNA. She's not trying to disprove anything. She's actually proving new things. We're learning more, right? So expand makes sense. But she does talk about DNA, so I wouldn't say C. But expanding upon the number of known organisms, like so humans could do it too. Right. Um, okay. Try two on your own. Oof. Yeah. Take your time. Take your time. Take your time.
Stop.
Take your time. So let me show you some evidence I think, or some words I think kill the choices. Is there a demand for more reporting? No. Um, are there scientific advances they're talking about? No. That's why those are out. So stand as CRD. Um, they never underestimated. Never did that. The time about when you put it out there, like, hey, people are getting COVID, people are dying, or there's bird flu or whatever, or Zika virus, or so they perceive that there's a risk and they get scared. So D would make the most sense. Accounts of the dangers associated with a particular threat may contribute to exaggerated perceptions of that risk. So, okay, let's keep moving. I think we'll move on to grammar, one of my favorites. Okay, so let's go to 177.
Yes.
Okay, so looking at one, how about avocados? 177? Yep, 177. So make sure you read the whole thing carefully. Financial hardship for grocery retailers can lead to costs being passed on to consumers through increased food prices. When a consumer decides not to buy an avocado, because it costs 50 cents more. Avocado farms in Central and South America make less money. And when a farm makes less money, so do the farm laborers. Thus, the effects of financial strain on grocers can be far-reaching. So I think there should be some sort of pause after more. All of them have that. Um,
Cause it's 50 cents like essential information.
well,
Everything.
it is essential. So we don't want A because it is essential. You do need to know that. Um, I'll go C. Yeah, D. A. First of all, A and D are too disruptive because you want to say when a consumer decides to buy an avocado because it costs 50 cents more. I don't want to disrupt that rhythm from avocado and because I want to just say it all the way through. Consumer decides to buy an avocado because it costs no pause between avocado and because. Keep it moving, keep it fluid. So I don't like A or D. The problem with B, it's too disruptive, comma is sufficient. Because when you say when a blah blah blah, comma, that's what we call a dependent clause. It's a statement that's not a complete sentence, depends on the other statement to make it sound complete. After the comma, it's an independent clause. That could be its own sentence. Avocado farms in Central South America make less money, and when a farm makes less money, so do the farm laborers. It's kind of like saying, although it is warm outside, comma, I'm going to wear 3 layers of clothes. You put a comma to separate those two things. It's the same kind of situation when a blah, 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 comma, and then you go and explain afterwards. So you want to be very intentional with your commas. You don't want to add them unnecessarily, which A does do. And B and D are just too disruptive. That's more of a longer pause. That's if you're listing things, if you're listing, or you're trying to elaborate on, like it's almost like using the word because. Um, like if you were to say, a good example, say my favorite class at Sacred Heart, or sorry, I like Mr. Davidson for one reason, colon, he's a nice guy. Because then you're elaborating on why you like Mr. Davis as a teacher. He is a nice guy. Right. So confused for that too. Let's look at 2. Mhm. It can. For the second module, it can be. Okay, this one's more about tense, I think. So it's going to read this one here. So here we've got a US history example. And also you want to avoid awkwardness. Remember, it's already happened in the past. Oh, what do you guys think? I think C makes sense too. Yep, C. Good. Let's move on to the next set. Give more punctuation again. 193. Okay. Ooh, this is a very good one. Okay, you have the word however. Now here's what we have to be mindful about. What are we really contrasting here? So let's make sure we're careful about that. Author J.R.R. Tolkien professed that he disliked 16th century English writer William Shakespeare. Fine. This does not mean that Tolkien was not influenced by Shakespeare. However, literary scholars agree that Tolkien's works contain a number of clear connections to several of Shakespeare's plays. So I think the second sentence has to contrast with the first sentence. So there's 3 sentences. The first one, he professed he didn't like him. The second one, that does not mean he was not influenced by his works. Then the third sentence, the literary scholars agree that Tolkien used his stuff. So the second and third sentences are actually connected. They agree with each other. What's really contrasting? The first and second sentences, not the second and third. The first and second sentences are the ones that are contrasting with each other. So if you put C, then C implies that the third and second are contrasting. We don't want that. I like A though. I like A. The reason I like A is because you want, however, to contrast between the second and first.
What about B?
Now here's the problem with B and D. B and D are run-on sentences. B and D present new mistakes. This does not mean that Tolkien was influenced by Shakespeare. However, see, look at the statement right here. This is the trick. This is how you figure this out. That's a complete sentence. So by not putting a period or semicolon there,
It won't make sense.
it's not gonna make any sense. If you're trying to link it with previous, it's gonna be a run-on. Literary scholars agree that Tolkien's works contain a number of clear connections to several of Shakespeare's plays. That's totally complete sentence. So yes, it's gonna be A, correct. Yes. Good. That's 193.
Yeah.
Okay. Now go and try 2 now. By the way, for number 2, I can knock out both A and B. Semicolon period do the same thing. Unless I use the semicolon to list things, then it's being used as a period. Because if A works, so does B, and vice versa. You can't have 2 answers here. A semicolon serves a purpose of a period. Anything say before and after a semicolon would have to be complete statements. So if A works, so does B. So now I know it's down to C or D. I like C a lot, but let me double check. Careful. Careful. It's not.
Why not?
Well, let me read it.
Is it the same thing as last?
If you put C, that's the only DNA, this.
Yeah, it's gonna be a run-on. So there are 6 key developments that have changed forensic anthropology. Two of these are external developments that are generally agreed to be detrimental to the field. Okay, you know why it's a colon? You're listing things. They're detrimental, sort of harmful to the field. And what are those 2 things? DNA analysis. They're detrimental to the field. Yeah, the avid of DNA analysis and exchange requirements.
So whenever
Two
these
listings.
things always use the 2 dots. Always.
Yes, 100%.
Always.
Yes.
Fixing the dot and the comma.
A semicolon. A semicolon is like a period. Anything say before and after a semicolon must be a complete sentence.
Wait, semicolon is the 2 dots or the dot?
Semicolon is dot, comma.
Oh, okay.
That's why it's semi.
What's the other one called?
Colon. Straight up colon. Straight up.
Okay, so whenever you're listing things, colon,
Correct.
how like another word for however is semicolon.
Yeah, if you're trying to separate 2 independent sentences, so it's not a run-on, like 2 independent thoughts that can stand on their own, like a period. It's like a period.
So a period.
It's like a period. Semicolon is like a period. Correct. Right. Okay. The irony is that you guys are learning this from a math teacher, right? That's kind of ironic. I know it's crazy, right? But I
never learned it.
Ironically, I learned more grammar rules when I took Spanish in high school than my actual English classes. Right? Like what is an infinitive or gerunds?
I don't even know what a clause means. Dependent clause.
I know.
Yeah, Julie, I'm sorry, but I had Terry and he tried to.
All right.
I never went to school in 5th grade.
Okay, let's move on, guys. Okay, let's do more grammar. So we're looking at verbs. So let's go to page 211. Look at verbs. Okay, lionfish, which are native. By the way, I learned a lot of trivia from this stuff too. Like I have no idea. Now I know what lionfish is. Great. Now you guys go Jeopardy. Which are native to Indian Ocean and Pacific Ocean, are considered invasive in the Atlantic Ocean. Okay, so not cool in the Atlantic, they're cool in the Indian Pacific. According to expert Mark Hickson, collecting individual lionfish and introducing fish that are known to prey on them are 2 options for helping the ecosystem recover for too much damage. Okay, so everything's in present tense, right? Are known are 2 options. So you want to keep everything in present tense.
Isn't it B?
I like B. Yeah, the other ones don't make sense. I like B. Yeah. Okay, try 2 now. And by the way, for number 2, which one's the odd person out? Oh, no. The choices. Were, are, have, is. These are plural. That's singular. I suspect it's probably gonna be D. Because it just stands out. But read it first. We'll use some logic. Not saying it's always a guarantee.
Wait,
Read it.
in more school. Wait, why does
Each, but it's H, mister.
Isn't it B?
Which one?
Why does it stand out?
Because the A, B, and C are plural verbs. Use those for plural subjects. Like you wouldn't say like they are or my parents are. You wouldn't say my parents is, my they is, right? But is a singular. Like my friend is, or my mother is, right?
Oh, A.
Two?
B.
I thought it was A or B.
It's D.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
It's singular.
Thank you.
Oh my god, you forgot
Alondra.
about this, Mr. Reese.
I was.
It's each.
Each. Singular.
So is.
So
Okay. But
Yeah.
each is singular.
Wait, each R. Say each R.
If I said each,
each is.
each of my 10 students is going to do their homework tonight. I won't say each of my 10 students are going to do their homework. I would not say that. Each. Yeah. Or each of the 100 houses in Atherton is worth $10 million. I would say each of the houses in Atherton are worth, no, each. Each singular. Each. But it's each. It's each. Has assigned.
Wait, each of my teachers is going to.
Is, yes. Is. There you go. Correct. Each. Nope, you don't say are. Say, you gotta say E. Is. That's why it's D. Okay. Okay, let's keep moving. Okay, more grammar again. Now we're looking at pronouns, nouns, and modifiers. Ooh, this is a good one. Actually, I do want to do more than 2 of these questions because these are pretty good. All right. Okay, so now we're on page 227. All right. 1. A recent study of North American songbirds found that hybrids of black-capped and mountain chickadees occur more often than previously thought. Blank also revealed that the hybrid songbirds were more likely to be found in human-altered landscapes, although the reason for that correlation is not yet known. So, a recent study, the study is what we're referring to. So, when you have pronouns, correct, because when you have a pronoun, there's something called an antecedent. Okay, I'm going to give you guys more vocab terminology here. Sorry, more grammar terminology. Antecedent means before. Whenever you use a pronoun, like like for example, if you said like, "Oh, we are going to the park today," and then your friend's like, "Who is we?" I thought I was only going with you, right? Like, who is we? Like, because you got to refer to, yeah, maybe you have some secret admirer. I don't know, but or if you said like they are doing this, okay, who is they? Who's they referring to, right? So the study is what it's referring to. The pronoun in a study. No, I think it's called antecedent because it's what's before.
So, like,
I think so. Oh, you're right. Yes. Sorry. Yes. Thank you, Landry. That's correct. But regardless, yes. Sorry. Yes, you are correct. But right. But you got to know what the pronoun is referring to. So that's why it's it. For example, you wouldn't say Sacred Heart schools. Sorry. Well, we are. Well, no, we are one school. Yeah. So Sacred Heart and its students. You want to say Sacred Heart and their students. You want to say Sacred Heart and its students, right? Because we're one school. But if you said the schools in Menlo Park and their students, then you got to say there. Okay, let's look at 2. Ooh, that's a good one. Okay, try 2. Tell me what you think. This is looking up. We need to talk about apostrophes. This is good.
Uh-oh.
Isn't it B or C?
It's B.
It's A.
Got it.
Who got it right?
Andre.
B.
B. Okay.
It's these multiple roots and water is singular.
Yeah, the plant's great.
Oh, yeah, it is because of the,
Plant
yeah.
shapes. So there's an S after the word. That's also plural. Is that why?
Isn't that
Yeah, it's not.
It's guys, it's possessive. This is Mr. E's water bottle. E apostrophe S. This is Mr. E's laptop, right? So it's the same thing. The shapes belong to the roots. You're talking about the shapes of the root, right? You're talking about the presence of the water. So the water,
Why is it outside though and not in between the T and the S?
great question, outstanding. It's plural possessive. Whenever it's plural and it's possessive, you put the apostrophe after the S. If it's singular and possessive, you put it between the consonant and the S. So if I said my students' notebooks, I clearly got multiple students here. I got 8 students here, right? And so the notebooks belong to students. Or if you said my parents' house, you have 2 parents, they both own the house, but that belongs to 2 people. You put parents apostrophe after the S. But if you have 1 parent and in my parents' car, then you put parent apostrophe S. So it depends on how many people you're talking about. So the logic is happening there. And we are assuming that we have more than 1 plant because it said plants earlier on. Plants must maintain access to water to survive. But water is a singular thing. And so that's why, but yeah, that's why you have the apostrophe after the S for B. It's plural possessive, where water is singular possessive. Okay, let's look at one more here. Let's look at 3. This is also a very good one. I didn't learn about this till like my last year of college, this rule. And it's actually in an engineering class when I learned this rule, which is really ironic. Yeah, we had to write research papers, and I did well in the class, but my professor really ripped me a new one. It's like, you're about to go in the workforce, you gotta learn how to write. Yes, like it's like but it was good. It woke me up. I was like, okay, let me go learn my grammar really well then. So before I go in the workforce. Yeah, I worked at Intel from 99 to 2001 because I like this better. I love teaching better in engineering. Yeah, and also right around the time frame, like right now we're at war with Iran. So 25 years ago we had 9/11, and then we were at war with Iraq, and so the economy took a downturn. Well, a lot of companies weren't hiring, so I decided to start my own tutoring business, and then took off after that. So in 2005, and it was through my tutoring business that I got this job. What was that? No, I've done this for. I got 3 small kids. I got like no, no, I don't lose patience at all. That's Davis. I tutored his kids were the worst. And I had to deal with Tierna Davidson, that prima donna soccer player. Like, no. Anyhow, okay. Let me explain to you why I didn't know this rule many years ago. So it's called a modifier. So the thing is that they all sound okay. Grammatically, all sound fine. So like, what gives, right? Here's the thing. A modifier, and they say it right in the bottom right corner, they're dealing with modifiers. A modifier is a description. It sounds like modify, which means change, but it's not, that's not really what it is. A modifier is a description. That right there is what we call a modifier. So who was known as a cornerstone of American modern dance and taught worldwide? Who was known? A person. A person was known, right? So you want to mention Graham.
C.
Yes. Thank you. Awesome. Fantastic. Why is B no good? Because B talks about the technique of Graham. A talks about the technique, the development of the technique of Graham. D is there. What the heck's there? C, choreographer Martha Graham developed Graham technique and method that blah, blah, blah. Yes, very good. So that's, once you get the hang of it, you never, ever miss these. You'll get them right all the time once you get the hang of it. So you have a few more to try. Okay, we're at the home stretch here. Yeah, I know. Transitions. Okay. So these can be very, I mean, they're pretty easy in the first module. The second module, they can get very subtle. I sometimes struggle with these too. But if you look at, before I read number 1, gosh, I like DNA again. Similarly means you're trying to compare, right?
Mhm.
For instance, like, for example, indeed is like saying, in fact, like going deeper. Fortunately, well, you're lucky, right? But similarly, it'd be like similar to Sacred Heart, Menlo has a lot of resources. Great, you're comparing. But if I said like, Sacred Heart's a great school, for instance, we have great math teachers. Great. So that's giving an example. Or the math department at Sacred Heart is great. Indeed, Mr. Davidson is a great teacher. Like those are things.
So it's B or C.
I don't know. Let's find out. Let's read it. I don't know.
I think it's B.
DNA analysis seen by many as a threat to the relevance of the field of forensic anthropology because if evidence such analysis provides is scientifically certain, it renders the expertise of forensic anthropology unnecessary. Blank legal challenges have recently shifted the focus of court cases to methods used and the reliability of findings from forensic science rather than on the credentials and expertise of the scientists.
It has to be.
Indeed. This is part. Yeah,
Oh,
indeed. I think that's
Fortunately.
There's fortunate.
Oh, like me?
I think it is. I think it is indeed. Let me double check. Yeah, it's indeed. Yeah, it's C. Yeah, because you're digging deeper. Because they said it renders the expertise of forensic anthropology unnecessary, and then they go on to explain why it's not necessary afterwards. They talk about why.
Couldn't it be also for instance though? Oh wait, no, for instance is like.
For instance, it's more like
Example, there might be right.
yeah. If you said like yeah, it's if you say like if you're trying to give reasons, like you make a very general statement, like I like living in California for a few reasons. For example, the weather's great. Yeah, you wouldn't say indeed the weather's like no. Look, okay, indeed would be like this case. Like okay, I like living in California for a few reasons. For example, the weather's great, and then in fact, the temperature is 75 degrees for most of the year. Because then you're digging a little deeper with that reason. And that's what this is doing. It's digging a little deeper with that reason. Try two. And sometimes we contrast too, but this doesn't have a contrast. But keep in mind, sometimes we contrast. Yeah. B. Yep. Therefore is like saying because. It's not unfortunate. That makes no sense. And therefore is cause and effect. We're not doing that. You're just digging deeper for that reason, right? So it's very subtle. Okay, and then last one. Let's go to rhetorical synthesis. So this is where they give this is always at the end of the reading and writing section.
Last.
Correct, typically.
Oh,
What's the worst class?
oh,
you
the thin
had?
ice one.
All the.
Oh, my first year. Oh yeah, like if like Mr. Bell used to be the dean of students.
Which bell? Which bell?
Brian Bell, sorry, Brian Bell. But yeah, like we kind of joke about it now, like they said, yeah, we definitely gave you like the worst group you can for a first year teacher. It was basically 12 boys and 2 girls, and the girls didn't say a word, and they're totally alpha male boys, and there was a senior in there also taking algebra 2, and
A senior?
yeah, he got kicked out the year before for something else, and he came back. So he had behavior issues. It was like the worst behavior. It was such a. It was a pretty rough group, yeah. And the funny thing is, actually, I'm actually friends with these people like today. Like I'll see them at events. No, yeah, and they have children like the same age as my kids, and like we joke about it now. Like but it got me ready. So yeah, the first year is pretty rough. What was that? No, but I had to find my rhythm, so I found it in my second year. So, but yeah, that was probably when you have a male dominate alpha male boys, it can be tough. Yeah, right.
He just said Mr. Abdullah goes to the club.
No, he doesn't. He like walks past and he sees.
Oh, I thought he's in there with them.
All right,
Do you remember when he said
Anyways.
number 1. All right. So what I would do first is I would read this opening part, like just to know what the question is. The student wants to describe a surprising result of a research study to an audience familiar with REM sleep. Okay. So a surprising result with the audience familiar. So rapid eye movement is associated with dreaming in humans, and that's not surprising. Many mammals and birds experience, Cuttlefish and octopus are the only invertebrates who are known to have, okay, fine, behavior, blah, 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 plan to test reactions of jumping spiders, which are invertebrates, to 3, because it said the only vertebrates known were these, but this person decided to test it. When observing the spiders at night, they noticed them twitching, that they do have REM sleep. So that would be surprising. Because they said these were the only invertebrates, cuttlefish and octopuses, but apparently spiders do too. Further research showed that the jumping spider's eyes moved rapidly during the sleep, reminiscent of REM. Okay. So probably something involves the last 2 bullet points, I'd say. So if I look at the choices,
Is it B? She's not kidding.
I don't like C.
She's not kidding. B.
I like B. I like B.
Check.
So we'll check. Yeah. Oh, wait, it's not B. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. It's not B. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Let me read it again one more time. Hold on. Oh, you know what? We have to say invertebrate. That's why. That's why it's surprising. We didn't say invertebrate. No, D, because unexpected. No, because you have to say invertebrate. I missed that part. Because I said that we had to look at that. That's my fault. We rushed it. Yeah, it's D. Yeah, my apologies. Great question. Math. Well, what do you think math? I have 800. What do you think math was?
Wait, say it again.
Well, both sections have 800. Yeah. So what do you think I got in math out of 800? Close, 760. I got 760 in math. No, I always miss 2 questions. What do you think I got in verbal though? It was 480. Yeah, it was really low. Yeah, I did terrible at high school. Yeah.
Did you know Gavin has got a 960 in total?
Yeah, he's not a smart guy. He actually has I think dyslexia.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. All right, last one. Just to get some closure. Let's look at number 2. Last one. Yeah, do it on your own. Number 2. Let's try it. So the student wants to emphasize the study's methodology. So you got to make a mention of the methodology in the correct answer. So you got to pick a bullet point that talks about the methodology for number 2. So figure out which bullet points you think are relevant and then use those in your answer. So which bullet points talk about methodology, would you say? Like the of the bullet, no, like the first, second, third, fourth. Definitely the second. Yeah, like that talks about the method. They pumped into the pig's bodies a blood substitute. Okay.
So,
And probably the third bullet point, because some got no treatment.
and
Say number 2.
So, but it doesn't talk about the methodology though. It just talks about what they want to study. It didn't talk about how they actually did it. It's gonna be D because to determine the effectiveness, they compared pigs that got the treatment to pigs that did not. So it's really more the method. They want you to talk about that. A talks about what they're hoping to study, but didn't tell us actually the methodology, right? B does. Sorry, D does. Because he talks about compared dead pigs treated that's just those given no treatment and chose treated with an ECMO machine. So all right. So I know you guys have a lot going on this week, so don't feel any pressure to do extra work. If you want to, you can. So let's meet one more time Thursday. And what we'll do is we'll pull up a practice test. We'll go through a practice test together. We'll kind of do some, yeah, but we'll kind of do the whole thing. We'll do some, module 1 for reading and writing, module 2, then we'll transition to math. What's that? No, we're just going to kind of just breeze through some questions and go through it together. So, yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Yu.
All right. See you guys And then for those who want to book an appointment with me, let me get back to you. Some of you guys have emailed me already. So respond to that email, but I haven't responded to those who have actually emailed me back. I'll confirm later today. All right. Yeah. Yep. See you later.